Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters. May the peace and mercy of Allah be upon you. Today, we address a deeply spiritual topic, a question that every believer, in one way or another, has already gone through in their heart: signs of God in our lives. We all know that Allah, in His infinite wisdom, guides His servants through subtle signs, events, and sometimes even through people who cross our path. But have you ever felt that was Allah speaking to you specifically about someone in your life? Have you ever had this feeling that this person, in one way or another, was connected to your destiny, to your spiritual journey? It is sometimes difficult to understand this kind of sign, but that is where the beauty of divine guidance lies. Allah, in His mercy, uses our human relationships to send us messages, confirmations, reminders to guide us on the right path. Sometimes these signs come when we need them most. They can upset us, surprise us, but they are always there for a divine reason. And today, this video focuses on just that: divine confirmation in our human relationships. When you feel a spiritual connection with a person, is it just a coincidence, or is it confirmation from Allah? This video will guide you to recognize these signs and better understand the message God is sending you. Stay with us, because what you discover today may well change the way you view your relationships and the way you interpret divine signs in your life. Understanding divine guidance. Divine guidance, dear soul, is one of the greatest gifts Allah gives us. It is the light that He sends into our hearts to guide us in times of uncertainty, bewilderment, or confusion. But how does Allah guide us? He does not always speak directly, but He uses a multitude of means to show us the way to follow. Divine signs can manifest in several ways: dreams, the recurring thoughts that arise in our mind, or even the spiritual events that occur unexpectedly. In the Qur'an, Allah says, "And those who believe and whose hearts are at peace in the remembrance of Allah." Yes, it is in the remembrance of Allah that their hearts are at rest. Qur'an 13:28. This verse reminds us that tranquility of the heart, this feeling of inner peace, is a sign that we are in harmony with divine guidance. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, never leaves us in the dark. When He wishes to guide us, He places signs on our path. But these signs are not always obvious. Sometimes we ignore them due to lack of thought or awareness. But Allah, in His mercy, helps us recognize them, offering us clues through people, events, and even the emotions we feel. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, taught us that believers should be vigilant and attentive to the signs of Allah, because sometimes guidance is hidden behind trials, meetings, or even moments of silence. An authentic hadith reminds us, Allah never ceases to guide those who seek guidance. Sahih al-Bukhari. It is therefore essential not only to look for obvious signs, but to be open and ready to recognize the subtle guidance from Allah. These signs can be there in the little things of everyday life, but only if we have our eyes open to see them. Signs from Allah in our relationships. Allah, in His great wisdom, uses the human relations to send us signs and guide us on the right path. Often, we tend to underestimate the importance of people in our lives, but they play a crucial role in our spiritual journey. Relationships are not simply worldly interactions. They can be vectors of divine messages if we know how to interpret them. In the Qur'an, Allah teaches us that relationships are divine opportunities to receive signs. For example, the story of Musa, Moses, and of Khidr in Surah Al-Kahf is a beautiful illustration. Allah sent Khidr to guide Musa through mysterious events that unfolded during their meeting, each of them a divine lesson in patience, understanding, and wisdom. This verse shows us that sometimes encounters are not chance, but opportunities given by Allah to teach us something profound. Additionally, Allah sometimes uses dating and relationships to make us reflect on aspects of our own character or on decisions to make. The people around us, whether loved ones, colleagues, or even simple acquaintances, can be divine messengers, bearers of truths that we need to hear. Allah says in the Qur'an, "And those who believe, men and women, are allies of one another." Qur'an 9:71. This verse highlights the divine connection that exists between believers and shows that every relationship can be a source of guidance. An inspiring story is that of the companion Abu Huraira. May Allah be pleased with him. He was one of the closest companions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. And he said that he met an old woman who guided him to a different path when he was meditating on a verse from the Qur'an. This meeting had a profound influence on him, and he realized that Allah was sending him a sign through this person to remind him of the need to always be attentive to divine guidance, even in moments of solitude. Thus, every encounter, every relationship we have can be a channel through which Allah speaks to us. He invites us to be attentive and to discern the signs that He places on our path. When you receive your confirmation, divine confirmation is a moment of spiritual clarity, a moment when we deeply feel that our thoughts, our actions, or even a particular relationship are guided by the wisdom of Allah. This often manifests itself as a feeling of inner peace and intuition, which allows us to discern the path to follow with certainty. When you receive confirmation from Allah, it does not seem like a mere desire or a thought that crosses the mind. It's a feeling deeply soothing, a tranquility that settles in your heart and mind. Allah tells us in the Qur'an, "Is it not by the remembrance of Allah that hearts are calmed?" Qur'an 13:28. This tranquility, this inner peace, is a sign that you are on the right path, that divine guidance accompanies you. This is the confirmation that you were looking for. However, it is essential to understand that not all signs are divine. Sometimes what we feel as confirmation may simply be a reflection of our own desires and expectations. How to differentiate the true divine guidance of our own desires? The key lies in the detachment personal emotions and in the ability to fully submit to the will of Allah. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "When you doubt anything, consult your heart." Sahih Muslim. This word teaches us that our heart, in its state of purity, will be able to recognize whether what we feel really comes from divine guidance or whether it is an illusion born from our ego. In some cases, divine confirmation may manifest through concrete events, such as a chance encounter with someone who gives you exactly the advice you were looking for, or through a series of coincidences which seem too perfect to be the result of chance. For example, a person might sincerely pray for a sign and then receive a message from a friend or a situation that reminds them of the guidance Allah had previously given them. Another example comes from the story of Salama. May Allah be pleased with her, one of the wives of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. When her husband decided to go to war, she felt hesitant and anxious. But after consulting Allah and praying, she felt an inner peace that confirmed her decision to support him, even in separation. This confirmation was manifested by its state of tranquility, a divinely granted feeling. So when you receive divine confirmation, pay attention to the inner peace that accompanies that moment. This peace is a sign of clarity of the guidance of Allah. The role of patience in receiving divine signs. Patience is one of the most essential virtues in the life of a believer, especially when it comes to discerning the signs of Allah. Sometimes we seek immediate answers to our prayers, but Allah, in His infinite wisdom, does not always grant us the signs and answers when we expect them. Divine signs don't always come instantly. Allah says in the Qur'an, "And certainly, after difficulty comes ease." Qur'an 94:6. This teaches us that sometimes we have to go through trials and difficult times before the answers become clear. Patience is the key to remaining calm and confident in these uncertain times. It allows to stand firm in faith without getting carried away by impatience or frustration. Prayer also plays a crucial role in this process. When we turn to Allah in sincerity, asking Him for guidance, He responds in His perfect time, and this requires dedication, patience on our part. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, The worships which you perform with patience, therein you will find peace. Sahih al-Bukhari. This shows that patience in worship and perseverance in prayer calm the heart and prepare us to receive the divine response. The trials we go through are often foy tests before receiving divine confirmation. They serve to purify our souls and prepare us to fully understand Allah's guidance. For example, in the story of Prophet Ayub, Job, who endured great suffering for years before receiving healing, we see the perfect example of patience in the face of adversity. Allah tested Ayub to refine his faith, and after a long period of suffering, he finally received his answer and blessing. This patience not only strengthened his faith, but also allowed Allah to grant him what was best for him at the appropriate time. Thus, the patience is much more than just waiting. She is an act of was, a way to get closer to God while remaining confident that divine signs, when they come, are always perfect and at their right time. The tests and trials we go through are divine opportunities to purify us and prepare us to receive guidance from Allah. Stories of divine confirmation. Stories of divine confirmation are a powerful reminder of how Allah guides and answers the prayers of His believers. These stories are not only examples from the past, but they are also contemporary testimonies of the goodness of Allah and the clarity of His guidance. Through these stories, we see how Allah, in His infinite mercy, grants divine confirmation regarding relationships, life choices, and times of doubt. An inspiring story is that of Fatima, may Allah be pleased with her, a young modern Muslim woman who found herself at an important crossroads in her life. She had doubts about which direction to take regarding a man she knew and had a strong connection with. Fatima had sincerely prayed to Allah for clear signs to know whether this relationship was a divine blessing or a trial. Soon after, she had a dream in which she saw the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, beckoning her to focus on her faith rather than her personal desires. This dream acted as a divine sign, a confirmation that she should wait and not rush her decision. This experience strengthened her faith and dedication to Allah, and she eventually found peace in her decision. This story reminds us that divine guidance can sometimes manifest through dreams, intuitions, or direct signs that we must recognize with patience. Another example comes from Ahmed, a man who was struggling with a difficult decision regarding his job. He wanted to leave a stable job to pursue a vocation that seemed more aligned with his faith, but he felt uncertain. After looking for signs and praying for answers, he experienced a strange event. He met a former colleague who told him about an opportunity he had never considered before. This was a clear sign that Allah was sending him confirmation through this chance encounter. His call for sincere prayer was answered, allowing him to make an informed decision. In the Qur'an, Allah says, "And ask him for forgiveness. For Allah is forgiving, merciful." Qur'an 1190. This verse reminds us that when we look for signs and sincerely address Allah, He always responds, in the most perfect way and at the perfect time. These stories show us that divine confirmation is a reality that affects the daily lives of believers. They illustrate the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, on faith and trust in Allah, who always guides those who seek His path with sincerity and humility. Trusting Allah's timing. In the life of a believer, one of the most profound lessons to learn is trust in divine timing. Allah does not grant us immediate answers to all our prayers and requests. Sometimes it seems like our calls go unanswered, but it's a test of patience and of He was. In reality, God's answer only comes when we are ready to receive it. Allah's timing is perfect, and He always guides us when it will benefit us the most, even if we don't immediately understand why. The Qur'an repeatedly reminds us that Allah acts according to His wisdom and His perfect timing. In Surah At-Tawbah, Allah says, "And to Allah belongs the dominion of all that is in the heavens and on the earth. He gives birth to light or darkness. He guides whomever He wills to the right path." Qur'an 9:1-16. This verse emphasizes that Allah's guidance comes at the time that seems right to Him and not according to our human expectations. Allah knows perfectly well what is good for us, and sometimes that involves delays or trials before He grants us the clarity we seek. Trust in Allah means accepting that His timing is always better than ours. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "If Allah grants a servant what he desires immediately, it is a proof of His mercy towards him. But sometimes Allah waits for the right moment to grant His servant what he has requested." Sahih Muslim. This word teaches us that even in waiting, Allah prepares us, purifies us, and shapes us to be ready to receive His answer. In our lives, we may go through periods of doubt, where we wonder why our prayers go unanswered. However, it is important to stand firm in our faith and continue to trust in Allah. He never leaves us without guidance, but He guides us by the time we are able to understand and appreciate His blessing. This reminds us of the importance of cultivate patience, to continue praying and stay connected to our faith, because Allah's response, whether immediate or delayed, will always be perfect for us. Divine timing is a constant reminder that everything happens according to the will of Allah, and each moment of our life has its own wisdom and meaning in the great divine design. What to do after receiving confirmation? Receive a confirmation divine is a powerful and significant moment in the life of a believer. This is a clear sign that Allah is guiding us towards the right path. But it is essential to do not act hastily after receiving a sign. On the contrary, we must act with wisdom and reflection, taking the time to fully understand the message and discern the best way to respond to this divine guidance. When a divine sign manifests, it is crucial to do not rush into action. The first step is to take a moment to meditate on the sign you have received. Sometimes, rushing can lead to mistakes or decisions influenced by immediate emotions, which can undermine the positive impact of the sign. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Do not rush, for Allah guides the one who is patient and waits." Sahih Muslim. This teaches us the importance of waiting and thinking before acting, even after receiving divine confirmations. It is also essential to pray and to continue asking Allah to further clarify the path to follow. Prayer is a powerful way to connect with Allah and seek His continued guidance. You can pray with all sincerity, asking Allah to grant you the wisdom to make the best decision. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, taught his companions to do istikhara, prayer for guidance, when they felt uncertain about an important decision. This shows that even after receiving a sign, it is important to continue asking Allah for further confirmation of the path forward. Another essential step is to consult your loved ones or trusted spiritual advisors. In times of important decision, the counsel of wise and godly people can offer useful and informed perspectives. In Islam, mutual consultation is strongly recommended, as mentioned in the Qur'an, and consult them in matters of deliberation. Qur'an 3:159. By talking with those you trust, you can gain valuable advice that will help you confirm and refine your understanding of the divine sign. Finally, it is essential to stay grateful to Allah for the clarity and guidance He has given you. Gratitude strengthens the relationship with Allah and attracts even more blessings into your life. After receiving divine confirmation, take the time to thank Allah for His mercy and guidance. Gratitude is an act of faith that shows that you recognize that everything you have is from Allah. So after receiving divine confirmation, act wisely, pray continually, consult the wise, and above all, be grateful towards Allah. These steps will guide you towards informed decision-making, blessed by divine guidance. In conclusion, today we have explored a profound aspect of guidance divine, confirmation of Allah about a person in our life. These moments of clarity, when we feel that our prayers have been heard and our signs sent, are not only blessings, but also reminders of the closeness to Allah. He is present at every moment, guiding our steps through the people and events He places in our path. This confirmation is a sign of His infinite mercy and His willingness to accompany us, guide us, and elevate us in our faith. We must always remain attentive to divine signs in our daily lives, whether they come in the form of encounters, dreams, recurring thoughts, or particular events. Allah often speaks to us through these signs, but to perceive them, we must be open, vigilant, and ready to listen with a pure heart. Remember, every interaction, every relationship can be an opportunity for Allah to guide us. I would like to encourage you, dear brothers and sisters, to stay attentive to the signs of Allah in your lives. Take a moment each day to think about how Allah speaks to you. Have you received a sign recently? Have you discerned divine direction in your decisions? Share your personal experiences in the comments below. By sharing our stories, we encourage each other to stay on the right path and recognize Allah's guidance in our lives. Finally, if you feel uncertain or need additional spiritual guidance, do not hesitate to turn to an imam or a spiritual advisor. Prayer is a powerful way to strengthen our connection with Allah, and consulting a spiritual guide can offer valuable perspectives on how to understand divine signs in your life. Never let your faith waver. Continue to seek the light of Allah with patience and devotion. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon you, and may He always guide you towards what is best for you.